What is up, Fabrication Nation? So I actually hate that I'm doing so many kind of update videos recently, but I kind of told myself this year I was gonna get out, take this thing out, get it seen some, and yeah, it's kept me busy, and I'll show you why. So I think the last video I did was the air system in the shop. I was been waiting on some stuff, and that was a video that needed to get done. And that kind of fell back over into this thing going to another event. So then I had a bunch of work that I needed to do on this. And I actually didn't film much of it, but I'm gonna kind of go through, kind of show you some of the updates I've done, some of the things I got completed. Like I've said in past videos, most of what I've been doing here lately doesn't look like anything new because most of it was mocked up, and then now I'm just like final welding it or final assembling it. So it looks the same, but it's actually done for the final time now. All right, where do I start? Let's see. So on the front side, the intake and stuff was never mounted. So now intake's all mounted. Sensors are in, I got the coolant temp sense in, got the air temp sense in, throttle buddies mounted, sealed, gasket, all that stuff was just kind of bolted on there temporarily before. Made a plate, so this is usually just a passover for like an idle air bypass. Made a plate for it, tapped it for the blow off, which is new. So you'll notice this whole tube now is welded. So welded, V-bands are good, blow off is mounted. So all that's legit. Before, I just had it tacked together and then the tube was just kind of stuck in there. What else? So I've been working on the pulley setup on this. So the one thing about the Bibbster is everything is super tight in here. And I had to have a crank trigger on this thing. And I didn't really want to put it up next to the balancer. So, and then the way that this thing is, the steering rack is right up there in the front. So I didn't want that thing over the steering rack. So I had to modify the V pulley on this thing. Let's see if I can show you. It's so tight. But you can see that I've just narrowed that pulley down. I don't think I can get in there to show you because... So anyway, basically I took a stock pulley, had somebody machine out a section of it for me, and then I welded it back together, and then I've put this crank trigger wheel on there on the outside. I'll end up cutting the hole in here so I'll have access to the bolt, but for now that's what we got. And then I'm gonna put the little Hal effect sensor out here on this thing. We've got to kind of time that properly. What else? So you can see on the intake, I've also got throttle position sensor. I've plugged this hole. And then along with the blow off, which is brand new, I kind of set it off to the center so it kind of evens everything up. I've also permanently mounted the wastegates. Got some of the tubing over here to the turbo, tapped it, some just push lock stuff. Hopefully I don't have any trouble with this melting. With this thing being open air, I think it'll be able to handle the temps, but I guess we'll see. My number one goal for this thing when I got it back from pit was to get it wired. I really want to fire this thing up. I want to get it wired. I started working on some of the wiring. As you can see, I still got a huge bundle down here, but I've got them all separated out. So like these are the spark. That's the spark out wires. The other bundle of white ones is the fuel injectors. And the reason I got so many spark out is because we're doing coil per plug or coil on plug. And I've already started kind of playing with that as well. So I've made a bracket. Gonna run some amp EFI smart coils on this thing. And I'm just gonna do 4 packs. I just gotta make some brackets. So these will kind of sit in here like this somehow. Let's see, I don't have enough hands. So these bad boys will just sit in here like this somehow. Probably make some brackets that come off these tubes. And then what I did is I bought, and I've got a mess, you're gonna have to excuse me. Like, I've just been trying to get work done. So, haven't been filming, just been trying to get work done. So I bought some cut to fit spark plugs. These are just like some V8 spark plugs that come with the ends separate. And then I bought some pliers that are made to kind of put these things together. So I'll just cut these to size, make them fit perfect like I want them. I'll probably show you those pliers in a Friday full video pretty soon. But yeah, so I kind of quit on the wiring. Well, I didn't quit, but in order to do the wiring, I had to have the intake mounted permanently in order to kind of, you know, figure out the length of the wires for the injectors and that sort of thing. I need to put the sensors in, so I knew how long to run those. Just stuff like that, kind of figure out what's going on up front. Had some things I needed to work out. I didn't know exactly where the alternator was going to go. I've since figured that out. As you can see on a setup like this, like, where'd you put the alternator? So it was one of those deals where I always was like, you know what, I'll figure it out as I go. Kind of thought about putting it out here at some point, running the belt around this piece. I didn't really like the idea of it being out here, but I didn't really have much choice because it's pretty crammed. See, that's like the coolant hose. I've got it mocked up. It's a little close right there, but I'll probably trim it off and push it up a little bit. Not really any room to put the alternator over here, and so what I finally decided I'm gonna do and it actually kind of worked out, is the alternator is going to go down underneath here like that. I don't even know if you can see that. But it's out of the way, it's not sticking up. I'll put a belt on it. For a while I actually thought that the alternator was gonna have to go maybe like on the drive shaft. You know, that's something that's done occasionally. You drive the alternator off the drive shaft. The problem is if you're not moving, you're not charging. And I didn't want that with this. I wanna be able to sit in traffic. You know, I wanna go cruise. So I had to try to figure it out, and I think I got it figured out. And that was really kind of the last piece as far as fitment goes up front, so I think I've got that dialed. Haven't put it on there, and I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait till after Foxtoberfest. So, what else? One of the other things I had to deal with too after pit was that the fuel pump I had to sit in here, and I just had the bolts kind of sitting in there, and on the way to pit in the trailer, they actually bounced the bolts out, and I actually lost 2 of them, which is crazy. And the way that this pump, actually this thing goes like this. The way this pump setup is designed is it's got a ring that goes on the inside that's threaded, but there's no way to like hold it in there. Steel ring, aluminum tank, so you can't like weld it. And so what I ended up doing is epoxying it in there, and I've got these kind of holding it right now. But that'll work to get, you know, to hold it good enough where I can take the bolts out, slide the pump and gasket in there, and then I can mount that thing back. So I got that dialed before this event. What else did I do? It doesn't feel like I've done very much, but I've been like working non-stop on this thing. So for Foxtoberfest, they got stickers, and you're supposed to put them on your windshield. Well, I don't have a windshield yet, so I had to make me a little tab that kind of fits. Put the sticker on. If you're not familiar with Foxtoberfest, Foxtoberfest is like what I think is the largest fox body gathering anywhere. 2 years ago when I went, they had over 500 fox bodies all in one spot. Nothing but fox bodies, nothing else. This year, it's at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and so I'll be up there Saturday. We're gonna come in early. It's like a 3 or 4 day event. The show is on Saturday. We're just gonna come in just for the show. Drive in Saturday morning super early, unload everything. I'm bringing this thing, so if you want to come see the Bibbster and you're anywhere near Charlotte Motor Speedway, come check it out. I think entry fee is pretty cheap for spectators. We're also bringing Chad Bibb's Fox body. So if you're not familiar, this was built for a buddy of mine who passed away years ago. Another friend of mine ended up buying his car back, his original car that he owned when he was alive. Redid it, went through the whole thing, redid it. It's a spectacular build, really nice car. We're gonna basically show the two of them together, so you can come check those out. We'll be riding around, and you can come say hey, hang out with us, all that good stuff. We're getting close. Still a lot of work to do though. So one of the things that's cool is if you come see this thing in person, I want to know what your thoughts are on how it looks on camera compared to how it looks in person. The one thing I can tell you is that it is a very different experience in person than it is on camera. Not necessarily because, you know, the quality of the work is wowing or anything like that. It's a lot smaller in person than it is on camera, and I think it has something to do with the wide angle lenses. It's a lot shorter, it's just a lot smaller. For whatever reason, on camera it looks like it's a super huge car, and it's not. The wheelbase is basically the same as a Fox body. It just doesn't have, you know, the tail section that hangs out. It doesn't have anything off the front. So I think it's actually stretched a little bit from a Fox body, but yeah. So that'd be the first thing. I mean, you know, if you get out there and you come by, that's one of the things I'd like to know is, what's your thoughts of this build in person versus what you see, you know, right here on Facebook or YouTube or wherever you're watching. So anyway, there you go, little update, little tiny itsy bitsy update. It feels like I've done a ton of work, but I don't really have much to show for it. So anyway, if you're out, if you're anywhere near Charlotte, North Carolina, and you're looking for something to do this Saturday, come to Foxtoberfest. Come check it out. I think it's from 9 to 5 on Saturday. It's gonna be a cool event if you're into Fox bodies. Yeah, it's like the best place to come see Fox bodies. You'll see, you know, a ton of 93 Cobras that have next to no miles on them. Some Cobra R's, some 93 Cobra R's. Just rare Fox bodies that you wouldn't normally see. Plus, like 400 pristine cars that, you know, you wouldn't normally see. So anyway, there you go. Showtime, baby. But I promise when I get back to work on this thing, I'm gonna start pumping out some fabrication content, just like old times. Anyway, see you guys then. If I don't see you at Foxtoberfest, go do work, son.